Be warned, ladies and gentlemen, hear me! For I am smoking a pipe. And that means, therefore, that I am opening up my mind for demonic possession. It is a gateway, a veritable portal into Satan's world. Because I am interfering with the way my brain functions, and therefore means that I am under satanic influence. Actually, that might explain earlier why I was out apostatizing. Yeah, let's see, I was manslaying and fornicating and adulterating and reviling and drinking in excess and idolatrating and extorting and being just damn greedy. I'm a bastard. I must be possessed by demons. It all makes sense now. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, all joking aside, unless you want Jehovah's Witnesses, who takes me quite seriously at my word, what I came to talk to you fine folks about is the subject of portion control. You are what you eat. And as Americans, of course, that is a difficult concept for us to wrap our heads around, but unfortunately, it is true. See, I myself am not a paragon of fitness, but I do recognize that if you eat too much cake, ice cream, and candy, you're going to be a fat ass. It doesn't take a rocket scientist or a health analyst to figure these things out. Most of us know it, secretly. We just pretend not to. But it occurs to me that that simple concept, that idea of portion control, applies to more than just one area of life, what you take into your body. It also pertains to what you take into your mind. You need to control what goes into you. You are what you eat, and what you take in defines your character. Let me explain. It's long been said, and it is quite true, that if you watch too much TV, your brain's gonna rot. And that's not to say that television is a bad thing, but you don't want to be watching it all the time. On a similar vein, playing video games. Wonderful pastime, particularly if you're a youth like myself. But, on the other hand, you also need to allocate time for social excursions, real-life interaction. It's all about portion control. And the more diverse you are, generally speaking, the more of an interesting individual you will be. What you do defines who you are and how you represent yourself to the world around you. And that remains true for Jehovah's Witnesses as well. Now, in the Christian worldview, the Christian mindset, what you take in as a Christian defines what Christian you are going to be. Now, foundationally, one thing that I would imagine is true in almost every case is that Christianity bases its beliefs and its teachings around the philosophy of the Bible. It almost necessarily has to, because you find the teachings of Christ nowhere else besides the Bible. It just seems so obvious. But yet, Jehovah's Witnesses seem to miss that very simple point. They are not Jehovah's Witnesses, nor are they Jesus' Witnesses. They are Watchtower Witnesses. Their very name is a misnomer. Why? Well, because they are what they eat, and what they eat is not Bible. How much time, actually, when you think about it, is dedicated in the Theocratic Ministry School every Thursday night to reading the Bible? Well, only 3 or 4 minutes. Only 3 or 4 minutes out of an hour and 45 minutes, some usually longer, of Bible reading. The rest of it is Watchtower. So 3 minutes of Bible, and then 1 hour and 42 minutes of Watchtower. That is entirely disproportionate. And the sad state of affairs is, yes, Watchtower Corporation does quote and reference scriptures, but very often will they actually be read from the stage. And even more sad than that, the Bible is relegated not to the entirety of its text, but rather to just a few subsets of proof-texted scriptures. Watchtower-approved Bible verses. You understand? Because we all know what 2 Timothy 3, 1-5 says. We all know what 1 Timothy 3, 1-5, and 2 Timothy 3:16, and John 3:16, and John 17:11, and Psalm 37 and 11, and all these ridiculous scriptures. I mean, they're not ridiculous scriptures, but the fact that they're relegated to proof texts that prove the Watchtower's philosophy and their ideas about what God really is and what religion is and what the meaning of life is. Matthew 24:14. The Witness religious diet is almost wholly comprised of Watchtower reading materials. I mean, for God's sakes, we all know just right off the top of our heads, Bible Teach book and You Can Live Forever in Paradise Earth book, and you know, this is only a less than a fraction of Watchtower publications. There are literally hundreds of thousands of pages of Watchtower's thoughts, many of them self-contradictory in nature, but very little of the Bible. So if you are what you eat and you're taking in primarily Watchtower material, then that makes you not a Jehovah's Witness, but a Watchtower Witness. You can even dissect the witness mind next time you see one, okay? Ask them, are you Jehovah's Witness or are you Watchtower Witness? Now, they're going to tell you that they're a Jehovah's Witness, as for God's sakes you would hope they would, because at least they, on the surface level, acknowledge the primary position of God. But you dig a little bit deeper, just past the surface, you say, oh, well, if you're following God, then does that mean you can question the teachings of Watchtower Corporation? To which the answer is no, don't question Watchtower. Why not, oh witness mind? Well, because the Watchtower is God's chosen organization. Oh, I see. Well, if that is the case, then why does the organization print false teachings? The witness will respond by telling you, well, Jehovah has allowed it. Therefore, he condones it because it is still his chosen organization. To which you reply by asking, well, do we follow the Watchtower teachings even when we know them to be wrong? The answer is unequivocally yes! Because they're not following God. They're following Watchtower and hoping that they follow God. And hoping that this supernatural entity who does not speak for himself, except through his word, the Bible, will be supporting their actions. Seems like somewhat of a flimsy philosophy to me, but, you know, hey, I question things. And it's not to say that Watchtower Corporation can't print their own materials. I mean, hey, for God's sake, I'll tell you what, I'm reading something that is extra biblical right now. Of course, we all know that I consider myself to be a Christian. Yet, what do I find myself reading? Jesus Interrupted, revealing the hidden contradictions of the Bible and why we don't know them. You see, one of the ways that we can actually strengthen our faith is by examining it and examining different viewpoints. Just because you firmly believe something to be true doesn't mean that it's not worth examining, and that holds true for Jehovah's Witnesses as well. It's not inherently wrong for Watchtower Corporation to print their own viewpoints on something, but nevertheless, Jehovah's Witnesses must acknowledge that their primary spiritual diet needs to consist of the Bible and revolving their thoughts around the Bible. But that's not the case at all. Even their Bible study, it's a misnomer. Okay, they offer you, the householder, with a free home Bible study. Now, call me crazy, but a free home Bible study sounds like you would be studying the Bible, but that is incorrect, because the first place that they will take you to is, what does the Bible really teach? So, we could read the Bible and find out what it really teaches, but it seems far more expedient just for Watchtower to distill all that complex information into 221 pages of Watchtower ideas on the subject, which are, by the way, subject to change at any time. This is a circa 2005 publication. Who's to say that next year at the district convention we won't be getting something to subsidize this printed material? And the questions, though they claim to be Bible-based, do not actually direct you to the Bible for their answer. For example, let's see, we are in page 39. Who is Jesus Christ? Jesus Christ. Question 5, to paragraph 5, of course. Of what were the disciples of Jesus fully convinced regarding him? Now, you're not going to read the Bible because, well, let's go to paragraph 5. 2 scriptures, paragraph 5. just 2. And it's only to prove Watchtower's point. But chances are in the Bible study, you're not going to read those 2 scriptures because you have to do it in 15 minutes if it's a, what do they call it, doorstep Bible study, or an hour if it's a home Bible study. So you need to fit within the contours of what Watchtower's scientific methodology for preaching the word actually is. And so instead of looking at the Bible to find the answer, or even answering from the Bible, what you're going to do is you're going to read paragraph 5, highlight the answer, and then read it. You can't even formulate your own opinion. So the Witness spiritual diet, as I've mentioned before, of course, is compiled almost primarily of the Watchtower's doctrine. They are Watchtower Witnesses. Now, Jehovah's Witnesses, I understand that this is going to be a difficult request of you, but nevertheless, hear me out. I can't stop you from reading your Watchtower publications, and nor would I particularly try. Although I think they're complete bunk, you have to make up your own mind in that particular regard. But what I would ask of you is that if you consider yourself to be a true Christian, a footstep follower of Jesus Christ, as Watchtower so often characterizes their followers, then just for a moment, try for the next month, let's say, not to overtake your Watchtower reading materials, but just to match it. Let's see if you can match your field service time and your meeting time and your study time and your take a shower and get dressed in my suit because I gotta look pretty for the elders time, and just match that with reading the Bible and talking about the Bible with your friends, and speaking to God through prayer, and meditating on the words in the Bible. See if you can match Watchtower time with Bible time. Or even discover if that's even possible, because as so many witnesses who have now left the organization have found out, you can't match Watchtower time with Bible time. Even in the Theocratic Ministry School, which we discussed earlier. They have 3 minutes of solid Bible reading, and then the comments are all revolved around studying the Watchtower and answering the Watchtower's questions. And very rarely will the brothers or sisters reference the Bible in their comments, and if they go over time in their contributions to the meeting, then that means it's less time for not only Watchtower, or well, no, because they're referencing Watchtower in the comments, so it's less time for the speaker to take you all to a proof-texted verse. So you're even deprived of a small fragment of the Bible, relegated to a few proof texts. You're deprived of that. But you get the full dosage of Watchtower every time. The Bible suffers, but Watchtower never suffers. The only honest bit in their meetings, honestly, is on Sunday, when it's the Watchtower study. Holy crap, that about sums it up, really. It's not Bible study, it's Watchtower study. Because in the Jehovah's Witness worldview, you're going to follow Watchtower hoping that they follow Christ. Because you're not even included in his new covenant, which has, of course, been thoroughly exposed and revealed in Watchtower teachings and has been discussed by many, many more apostates besides myself. Portion control, ladies and gentlemen. If you consider yourself to be a Christian, Jehovah's Witnesses, then just try for the next month to match Watchtower time with Bible time. I leave you with those thoughts and ask you to remember, as always, that life is a state of mind. See you next time.